9/9. I knew she wasn't just asking about my day. The moment her message lit up my phone, something in my chest cracked open like a fault line. That was the thought that hit me the second I saw her text. How are you? Feeling lonely? It should have felt sweet, caring, the way a wife checks on her husband when she's away. But instead I stared at the glowing screen with a strange heaviness pressing beneath my ribs, as if the truth was already somewhere inside me, waiting for permission to surface. I typed back, "I miss you," then erased it. It felt dishonest, too hopeful, too naive. So I sent the truest thing I could manage. "I miss absolutely nothing right now. Just trying to get through the day." A joke, a half-truth, a shield. She replied almost instantly with a laughing emoji followed by a heart. But something about the timing, the tone, the lightness, it all felt wrong. Forced. Or maybe I was imagining it. Maybe loneliness twists everything into a threat. Sarah had left for her 3-day work trip to Denver 2 nights earlier. She'd kissed me on the cheek, told me to water the fiddle leaf fig, she always forgets herself, and said she'd call when she landed. Except she didn't call. She texted. Short, clipped updates that sounded more like an intern checking in than a wife. Landed. All good. Heading to the hotel now. No warmth. No little inside jokes. No miss you already like she always used to send. Maybe that was the first sign, small, sharp, almost invisible. But the real unraveling began the next morning. I woke up the exact moment sunlight crept across her empty, cold pillow. Her phone charger was still plugged in on her side of the bed. The quiet in our house on Maple Street in Madison, Wisconsin felt unfamiliar. Too still, too wide. Breakfast tasted like cardboard. Coffee did nothing to shake the dull ache in my chest. I kept checking my phone, waiting for a message that never came. At noon she finally wrote, "Busy morning. You okay?" 3 words and a question mark. I tried to shake it off. People get busy. Conferences are stressful. But I kept noticing things. Tiny, suspicious, impossible to prove, yet impossible to ignore. When she called that evening, her voice had a hollow echo, like she wasn't in her hotel room. Faint laughter drifted in the background, followed by a muffled shush. She claimed it was the TV. My gut clenched, but I pushed it down. Trust, I told myself, is choosing to believe even when you're scared. The fear kept growing. It grew again that night when her good night text arrived 2 hours later than usual. It grew when she sent a photo of her dinner, plate settings that looked far too elegant for room service. And it grew when I zoomed in on the reflection in the glass water bottle. A man's hand. Not hers. I stared at it for 10 minutes straight, pulse hammering in my ears. It could have been nothing, a waiter, a colleague, a stranger at the next table. But it didn't feel like nothing. It felt like the moment the ground trembles before the earthquake hits. By the time she texted the next afternoon, "How are you? Feeling lonely?" I wasn't hurt so much as hollow, as if I'd been bracing myself without realizing it. I wanted to ask where she really was, who she was really with, why her laugh sounded different, why her heart felt so far away even through a screen. But I didn't. Confronting her without proof felt like swinging at a ghost. Instead, I spent the day hunting answers in quiet details. Her location sharing was suddenly off, accidentally, though she swore she didn't know how. Her Instagram DMs had been cleared since she left. A coworker posted a group photo from the conference in Denver. Sarah wasn't in it, even though she'd told me she was attending that morning's session. Cracks everywhere. But cracks alone don't break a marriage. What breaks it is when the person you love refuses to meet your eyes, even across the distance. That night she called again. I heard the shift in her breathing the moment I answered. Hesitation, guilt, something unsaid heavy on her tongue. "Hey," she whispered. "Hey, you sound tired." "I am." A long silence stretched between us, heavy and thick. "Are you mad at me?" she asked. I closed my eyes. Should I be? Another silence, this one longer. Her breath trembled, almost imperceptibly. "I don't know," she finally said. "Maybe." I swallowed hard. There it was, not a confession, but a fracture wide enough to see truth through. "Where are you really?" I asked. She exhaled, slow, shaky, unsteady. "Can we talk when I get home?" That was the moment I knew. Not from words, not from proof, but from the way the woman I loved couldn't give me the simplest answer without falling apart. The truth came out 2 days later on our living room couch, her hands trembling in her lap. She didn't blame me. She didn't call it meaningless. She didn't say it just happened. She simply told me the truth in a way that hurt worse than the betrayal itself. I felt lonely, she said quietly, for a long time, and I didn't know how to tell you without sounding broken. He showed interest. He listened. I didn't stop it. And I should have. I wanted to scream. I wanted to comfort her. I wanted to run. I wanted to stay. Mostly I wanted the version of us we used to be. The one where she told me everything and I wasn't afraid to ask what was hurting her. But people don't break overnight. They break slowly over months, in the spaces between conversations. In the quiet corners where needs go unmet and fears go unspoken. We sat together for hours without touching. And in that silence I realized something I'd never let myself admit. Love isn't enough if you stop showing up for each other. Trust isn't enough if you stop talking before the wounds form. Marriage isn't enough if one person feels invisible. She cried. I cried. Neither of us were villains. Just two humans who let the distance between us grow until someone else stepped into the empty space. We didn't fix everything that night. We didn't decide our future. But we did something we hadn't done in a long time. We told the truth. And the truth, painful as it was, felt like the first honest step. Maybe toward reconciliation, maybe toward separate healing, maybe toward a different ending than we'd imagined. But an ending built on honesty instead of ignorance. As I sat there looking at the woman who had hurt me, and whom I had hurt in quieter ways, I learned the hardest lesson of all. If you don't speak your heart, someone else will listen to it. And if you don't nurture what you love, someone else will. Pain changes you, but so does clarity. Sometimes heartbreak is the only thing that finally teaches you your own worth. And the worth of speaking before the silence becomes the place where everything falls apart.